Hello viewers, how are you viewers? I hope you are fine viewers. Today I will discuss with you polar covalent bond. What is polar covalent bond? Let we see what is polar covalent bond. This is a chemical bond that we see. A polar covalent bond exists when atoms with different electronegative share electrons in a covalent bond. Consider the hydrogen chloride molecule. Each atom in HCl requires one more electrons to form an intergaseous electron configuration. A covalent bond that has an unequal share of electrons called a polar covalent bond. A covalent bond that has a equal sharing of electrons is called non-polar covalent bond. A polar covalent bond is one in which the atoms have unequal electron attraction and do not share the electrons equally. A polar molecule is one that has one end that is slightly positive and the other end that is slightly negative. A polar molecule is a diatomic molecule within a polar covalent bond. A water molecule abbreviated as H2O is an example of polar covalent bond. The electrons are unequally shared with the oxygen atom, spending more time with the electrons than the hydrogen atom. Since electrons spend more time with the oxygen atoms, it carries a particle negative charge. In sodium chloride, the atoms sodium and chloride are bounded to each other with ionic bonds due to the large difference in electronegatives of solid and chloride ion. Therefore, sodium chloride, which is an ionic compound, behaves like a polar. The electron density possessed by a polar molecule is equal in distribution. A non-polar molecule that possesses electron density is an unequal distribution in nature. Polar molecules have electrical poles. Non-polar molecules do not have electrical poles. Polar covalent bonds, a bond in which the electronegative difference between the atoms is between 0.4 and 1.7 is called a polar covalent bond. A polar covalent bond is a covalent bond in which the atom have an unequal attraction for electrons and so the sharing is unequal. However, if we want to define it more accurately, a polar covalent bond is a bond that exists between two atoms consisting of electrons that are unevenly distributed. Due to this state, the molecules tend to have some electrical dipole movement wherein the two ends are either slightly positive or negative. One of water's important properties is that it is composed of polar molecules, the two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom within water molecules H2O from polar covalent bonds. Both CO2 and C2O have two polar bonds. However, the dipoles in the linear CO2 molecules cancel each other out, meaning that the CO2 molecule is non-polar. The polar bonds in the bead H2O molecules result in a net diploid moment, so H2O is a polar. One way of estimating the ionic character of a bond, that is the magnitude of the charge separation in a polar covalent bond, is to calculate the difference in electronegativity between two atoms. Ammonium is a polar molecule because it has a positive charge on one end and a negative charge on the other. This makes it polar because the positive and negative charges are not evenly distributed. The reason ammonia NH3 is a polar molecule is due to its uneven distribution of charges. I hope guys you like this video. Please guys subscribe my channel and like my video. Thank you so much for watching.